everybody, I'm the Attack Artist, and I know it's gonna come out as a big surprise, but wolves are my favorite animal.
Surprising, I know.
As a kid, I was a horse girl. I adored horses, and they were my favorite animal. Mainly because of Epona in Ocarina of Time, and because I would watch the movie Spirit religiously. In fact, in second grade, I became best friends with a girl because we both wore the same horse shirt. Now, horses were my favorite animal until I played Twilight Princess.
Nice shot!
And ever since then, I've loved wolves. So, a few months ago, I actually got the opportunity to see real wolves in person. Well, wolf dogs, but they're about 70% wolf, so it still counts. I went with the plant commander to Howling Wolves Farm. I have the link to their website in the description below if you guys are interested in going. I highly recommend it if you like wolves or just animals in general. It was a really incredible experience. When we got there, there were a few more people there than we thought there'd be. So we all waited for a bit in the gift shop until everyone was ready, and then we started our tour. There was a really helpful tour guide who told us all about facts about the wolf dogs and how wolves are actually kind of an endangered species. It was all very informative and very interesting.
In captivity, their social behavior is very different than what it is in the wild. In captivity, in each of these pens, there will be an animal that becomes the dominant animal. Okay? Out in the wild, there is no such thing as an alpha wolf. It doesn't exist. Anybody who tells you different, let me just be blunt, they're flat out wrong. In the wild, a wolf pack is just a family unit. It is mom, dad, and the kids. Whether it's a pack of 4 or a pack of 30. There's mom and dad, and the rest are just their multiple generations of offspring. Okay? On very rare occasions, there may be 2 breeding pairs in the pack, but normally just 1. So again, no alpha. They're not alpha animals. They're just mom and dad who are the head of the household, just like you would be in your house. And the dynamics are not unlike people too. Naiche and Shante, when Orion and Sirius first came here as puppies, Naiche took over raising them. These animals have very strong parental instincts. In the wild, they say there's never a wolf puppy left behind. So if you had an animal like Naiche and you brought a dog puppy home, he'd raise it as if it was his very own offspring. He would regurgitate food for it because when they're young, they don't have good digestive systems. He would dig a den for them. They're not normally den animals. They only dig a den when they're going to have puppies. It is that simple, but that's the same. And then Sirius, who you're going to meet in the next pen, was actually an accident, and the owner didn't learn their lesson. A couple of years later, had another litter that we took in the entire litter and were able to adopt them out. But when they got here, Orion raised that entire litter, and he was more interested in raising them than Sirius, who is a female. So again, in the wild, there's no such thing as an alpha. That really only occurs in captivity. And in fact, the scientist who invented the term realized he was actually studying captive animals, and then he figured out that the social structure is so different in the wild you can't call them alpha. But by the time he tried to get people to stop using it, it was out there in the general lexicon, and people still look at it that way to this day.
Hey Dave, there was a comment about how her legs were, and we talked a little bit about
How skinny
narrow
they are?
and her gait. And
Yeah, she's kind of a classic looking animal. She's what we would call an indistinguishable. You put her in the wild, you can't tell the difference between her and a wild wolf. The long skinny legs, that's typical wolf, especially timber wolf. She walks, if you notice, she walks with one foot directly in front of the other, as opposed to side by side. That's because they're in the snow a lot, and walking one foot in front of the other is a lot more efficient than walking side to side. And then what also happens is the rest of the pack will follow in single file for 2 reasons. Number one, Lyra. They'll follow in single file because it's more efficient to, walk through a path that's already been created for you. But the second thing is, it's actually a defensive mechanism. By following in a single line, all you have is one line of track. So if another pack invades their territory, they don't know how many animals they're going to encounter. It could be 4, it could be 30, because all they see is one.
She saw the fly.
Yeah, they're trying to catch flies. Because flies land on them, they bite them, they don't like it, so they try to catch them. And that's why some people don't realize that at first. Like, why the hell is he snapping at the air? No, he's snapping at the fly.
While he was talking, we got to walk through pens with the wolf dogs and got to see them running around. We even got to sit next to them at one point. All the wolf dogs are just so cute. I love all of them. I love them so much. They're all such good doggos.
All right.
Is that everybody? Okay. So while I've still got them up here, I'm going to do one thing. We're going to see if we can get them to howl. So howling is their language. I'll explain more about that later. But in order to get him to howl, to say hello, so to speak, we have to say hello to him first. So we're all going to howl. So this is a good time for video. And if you don't feel stupid when you're howling, you're not doing it right. Also, once he starts howling, you guys want to stop because it's possible the rest of the animals may answer his howl. Group howl from the entire farm. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Nobody wants to answer today. Everybody's a little lazy today because it's hot. Whatever it feels like to us, it's 10 to 20 degrees more to them. That's number 1. Number 2, these animals are what is known as corpuscular, which means they're most active during the dawn and the dusk, so middle of the day.
The volunteers/employees working there were all super nice and helpful too, so props to them. There was one point where the tour guide was telling us some kind of funny stories about how some people go against the rules, and there was one time a grown man tried riding one of the wolves. So yeah, some people are stupid. So if you guys go after watching this video, don't do that. Use your common sense.
So he's the little brown puppy in the picture. So this is the problem. You have breeders who'll sell these animals to anybody. He's 93% gray wool, so you can get a lot of money for him. And then, 6 months later, you have this on your hands. And you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And again, he has zero fear of people. And you see, he wants the food, but even if I put it deep in my fist like that, he's not going to bite me to get it. He's just like, why aren't you giving it to me? He'll want to come in there. Right? Okay. Yeah. But, nobody's going to argue with him. He's our biggest boy at about 120 pounds. The others, he's 93% wolf. The other 7% is Malamute. Oh, this is Deb. The Malamute shows up even though it's only 7%. This is why he's bigger than everybody else. He's a little beefier. His paws are a lot bigger. Yes, I know I'm going to get to that. So I'm going to show you something. I was telling you about how they have 2 coats of fur, the winter coat that protects them 70 below. They have a coat called guard hairs that they keep all year round. The guard hairs are made out of keratin, which is the same material as your fingernails. So even though he's a little wet right now from splashing in the water, if you pet him, he's going to feel very bristly because of those guard hairs. And the guard hairs protect him from things like stickers, thorns, that kind of thing. It acts as a raincoat. They protect him, they keep him dry underneath. Even if it's pouring rain, he will be totally dry under that. The guard hairs also keep dirt from getting under their fur. Dirt just rolls right off them. They don't get their own scent. They don't get smelly like dogs. They don't need to bathe. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to use the food to bring them around, and you can pet them as they come around. However, I would ask you, no more than a couple of people at a time. Too many people petting him, and he just gets like, oh, I don't like this. So, come on. Right. Now you're not going to...
Over the past 2 years, I've gone to a lot of animal places, like a zoo, 2 different butterfly pavilions. Although the second one I went to was kind of like a hybrid between a butterfly pavilion and a little mini zoo. 3 aquariums and this wolf reserve. I love animals just so much, and I love going to places like this. I'm sure I'll keep on going to more in the future, so expect to see more vlogs like this. If you guys have any suggestions on animal places like this that you'd like me to go to, comment below. And if I'm ever in the area, I might just go and vlog my experience.
We were able to take him in, otherwise he was about 24 hours away from being put down. Luna here was actually bred by a woman down in Florida. She was trying to breed miniature looking wolves, so she just kept finding the smallest huskies and shepherds she could and mixing them in. Luna is 27% gray wolf. The rest is a mixture of husky, shepherd, Akita, and chow. And even though she's the smallest animal here and the lowest content, she's the biggest bully. She bullies all the other animals around. We like to jokingly say she thinks she's all wolf and doesn't take any crap from anybody. Probably in reality, a lot of her attitude comes from the Akita and chow in her. But with people, she's a sweetheart. She just doesn't like other women. We cannot put her in with a female, which is actually not unusual. Most of the time here, especially in captivity, you can't put 2 females together. They'll fight and try to kill each other. Also, we are, especially on weekends, we are an all-volunteer organization. If anybody wants to be a volunteer, we can always use the extra help. We have a volunteer form on our webpage. You just fill that out, and in a few weeks you should hear from us about the next orientation.
That was my little vlog about my experience with seeing wolves in real life. It was awesome. I highly recommend going if you like wolves too. Just remember that if you go, make sure to follow the rules and be respectful. Don't try to feed the wolves or reach out to grab them or anything like that guy trying to ride one of the wolves like a horse. Just be smart. If you're interested in finding out more about how you can help wolves or would like to volunteer, their website is in the description below for more information. And hey, if you're new here, hello! Welcome! I mainly make animations, speed paints, and gaming videos, but lately I've been doing a lot of traveling, so I've been making a lot of vlogs lately of my travels. So if you're interested in seeing more vlogs like this, there's a playlist on screen now. There's also some of my other stuff on screen as well, so make sure to check that out too. So you guys know that I really like wolves, but I'm curious, what's your guys' favorite animal? Comment below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm the Otaku Artist, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!